Hello and welcome to a book haul. So today I went to Woodley, which is a town that's not too far from me. It's about, I don't know, I walked there today, which took about half an hour. And they had a market, and it was a massive market. Like, they usually have a market every Sunday, but I don't know why, but this Sunday there was just so many stalls. Literally, it was just packed full of stalls. And most of these stalls had books. Um, Yeah, which I'm going to show you. A few of them are a bit beaten up, but I really wanted them, and they're all really good prices. I got 11 books for under £5. It was like £4 something for 11 books. Like I said, some of them aren't in the best condition, but that doesn't really bother me. Getting 11 books for like £4 something is amazing. So here I am, and I'm going to show you my books that I got today. So the first book I got is oh wow, you can really see the design on this. A lot of glare. It's Silver by Chris Wooding, and this has been on my Amazon wish list for the longest time. And so I was happy to find this for 25p. And it says, when a boy is bitten by a strange silver beetle, he becomes the first victim of a mysterious infection. But this is no ordinary virus. It turns flesh into metal and people into machines. There is no escape. As the virus spreads and more terrifying bloodthirsty machines appear, the remaining survivors are losing hope. Who will turn silver next? Is help ever coming? Will any of them survive? And this sounds really good. And like I said, this has been on my Amazon wish list for a long time, and I found it at the sale today, so I thought, amazing. And look at the design on the chapters. Awesome. Yeah. And it sounds a bit like Spider-Man, when he gets bitten by a spider and he turns into, like, he gets spider powers and stuff. Sounds a bit like that, so I'm really interested to read this. And it has a really nice design. It's better in person. On here there's too much glare. But yeah, The Silver by Chris Wooding. The next book I got, I was very happy to find. And this is Temptation by R.L. Stine. It's one of these American floppy paperbacks. And I think R.L. Stine created or had the idea of Goosebumps. I'm not sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think that's who this guy is or this person. He doesn't actually say. But yeah, this says sometimes evil is sealed with a kiss. The vampires of Sandy Hollow crave the summer months. Summer means plenty of beach tourists and plenty of fresh blood after months of deprivation. But this year the Eternal Ones have decided to spice things up with a little bet. The first to seduce a hot date of the human variety and then turn them into a fellow creature of the night wins. The catch? In order to successfully turn their prey, they must take only 3 small sips of blood on 3 different nights. If they take too much blood on any night, the human will die and the bet will be lost. The setup sounds simple enough, but things quickly get complicated, especially when these vampires are just dying to quench their thirst. So that sounds really interesting, and I really like the cover. It's like an apple dipped in blood, and it's dripping blood. Nice. I then got a little trio of books, and I got all of these for £1. And these are the My Story books. These are historical fiction about 3 different women. There are more in this series. I think there's about 12 of these, but I've got 3. And there's Transported, The Diary of Elizabeth Harvey, Australia 1790. Mill Girl, The Diary of Eliza Helsted, Manchester 1842 to 1843. And Bloody Tower, The Diary of Tilly Middleton, London 1553 to 1559. Yeah. This one is written by Valerie Wilding. This one is written by Sue Reed. And this one is written by Goldie Alexander. And like I said, they're just like 3 different women's stories from early periods of time. And they're like, I think they're written in like diaries. Yeah, they are written in diary format. So yeah, I just thought they were really cool, and they're all part of the same series, and they were £1 for 3. So I was like, hell yes. HELL to the YES, hell yeah. So yeah, I picked those up. I then got a couple of hardbacks. I got Rapscallion by James McGee, which I think has a really nice cover. And this says, I'll read you the back. Matthew Hawkwood, soldier, spy, prisoner. The longboat was secured to the raft and the transfer began. The odour seeping through the open gun ports from inside was almost overwhelming. Slowly, in single file, the men began to clink their way up the ship's side. Hawkwood stepped from the stairs onto the pulpit, Lasser at his shoulder. Both men stared down into the belly of the ship. Lasser recoiled. Then the Frenchman leaned forwards, so that his mouth was close to Hawkwood's ear. His face was set in a grimace. "Welcome to hell," he said. And yeah, it's like a historical fiction thing. I don't know what year it's set in, but yeah. I just thought it sounded really interesting. And it's a really nice cover. And it's in good condition. It's only... Whoa. It won't be in good condition if I do that again. Yeah, and it was only 50p, so... thought I'd give it a shot. I then picked up a beast of a hardback. This. It is humongous. Yeah, this is The Rest Is Noise by Alex Ross, listening to the 20th century. And this is literally, it says the history of the 20th century as heard through its music, from the Rite of Spring to the Velvet Underground. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I love music, all types of music. And this is literally a walk through history of 20th century music. It's got everything in here. From, let me find the contents. It's got everything from Strauss to Debussy to Jean Sibelius. And then it's got things like music in Hitler's Germany, music in Stalin's Russia. And then it goes all the way through the 20th century, and you come to things like Beethoven Was Wrong, Bop, Rock and the Minimalists. And yeah, it's just a journey through 20th century music, and I thought it was a good thing to have. Obviously it won't be something that I'll be reading page to page, because it is humongous. Yeah, but I just thought it was a really interesting thing to have and listen through. Listen through, what am I on about? Read through here and there. And it's like a coffee table book, really. And it's just over... It's 539 pages, so it is massive. And yeah, this was also only 50p, which I thought was amazing. I've never read an Ian Banks novel, which is strange because he writes a lot of science fiction, and I love science fiction. But I found a book that's not really in the greatest condition, but it was only 25p, and it's Stonemouth. And this is more of a thriller than science fiction. But I thought it sounded really good, and it was recommended to me. And on the back it says, Stuart Gilmore is back in Stonemouth, the estuary town north of Aberdeen that on a bleak day can seem to offer little more than sea fog, gangsters, cheap drugs, and a suspension bridge irresistible to suicide. After a 5-year exile, Stuart's presence is required at the funeral of Patriarch Joe Merston, even though the last time Stu saw the Merstons he was running for his life. But Stonemouth is also home to the girl who still haunts his dreams. And yeah, I've been recommended this a few times actually, surprisingly. And yeah, like I say, I never read an Ian Banks novel, so I thought I'd give this one a shot. Like I said, it's not in the greatest condition, but for 50p from a charity stall, I'm not going to pass it up. The next book I got is Charlotte Street by Danny Wallace. And yeah, this says, my name is Jason, and I have just met the most incredible woman on Charlotte Street. Well, I say met. I sort of held her bags for a second, but she smiled at me, and it was this amazing smile. Of course, I don't know her name or anything about her at all, but I do happen to have something of hers. She left behind one of those old-school disposable cameras. I've got it. It's here in front of me. So there are two things I could do now. I could develop the photos, maybe work out a way of finding her, see that smile again, or I could chuck it in a bin like a grown-up. I'm fairly sure one of those ideas is a good one. I'm fairly sure the other might be illegal. Look, if you were me, what would you do? Yeah. And on the front, it said a heartwarming everyday tale of boy stalks girl. I thought that was interesting, so I picked it up, and again, 50p. I then got Sleepers by Lorenzo Carcatera, I think. And this is a book about. It's actually a very disturbing book because I watched the movie of this. I think it was this movie, and it was extremely disturbing. But I loved the movie, and I've had this. I have had a copy of this before, but for some reason I got rid of it, so I picked it up again. It says, Lorenzo, Michael, John, and Tommy shared everything. The laughter and the bruises of an impoverished. Yeah, I'll start again. Lorenzo, Michael, John, and Tommy shared everything. The laughter and the bruises of an impoverished childhood on New York's violent West Side, until one of their pranks misfired and they were sent to a reformatory school. 12 months of systematic mental, physical, and sexual abuse left the boys transformed forever. 11 years later, one of them had become a journalist, one a lawyer, and the other two killers for the mob. In a chance encounter, they come face to face with one of their torturers and shot him dead in front of several witnesses. The trial that followed brought the four friends together again in one last, audacious stand, and a courtroom climax as gripping as any John Grisham novel. So, I thought I'd pick this up and give it a go at some point. I mean, it is very beaten up. There are pages missing. Well, not missing, but... yeah, there are pages that have come out, but I thought for 20p, I'm not going to pass this one up. Whew. And now we come to the last book. So I picked up Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, and I've always wanted to read a Murakami book. I was going to pick up the Colourless Life of whatever it's called, the newest one that was in hardcover, but I didn't get a chance. So when I saw this for £1, I picked it up. And yeah, it's not in the greatest condition again, but for £1, it's decent. And it says, falling in love in 1960s Tokyo, love with complications. When he hears her favourite Beatles song, Toru Watanabe recalls his first love, Naoko, the girlfriend of his best friend, Kazuki. Immediately, he is transported back almost 20 years to his student days in Tokyo, adrift in a world of uneasy friendships, casual sex, passion, loss, and desire, to a time when an impetuous young woman called Midori marches into his life and he has to choose between the future and the past. So yeah, I thought that sounded really interesting, and I will pick it up at some point. And yeah, like I said, I never read a Murakami book before, and I've heard he's a really good author, and I've heard his books are a little bit weird. So yeah, I thought I'd start with Norwegian Wood. It's translated from the Japanese. So I think all of Murakami's books are written in Japanese. Anyway, yeah, so that's that one. So there you have it. Those are my 11 books. Tell me which ones you've read, if any, because I think they're quite... I don't think they're very common books, apart from maybe the R.L. Stein. Yeah, so let me know if you've read any and what you thought about them, and I will see you again soon. Thumbs up if you click like if you like the video, sorry. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you again soon. Happy reading!